What's up, Philadelphia sports fans? I am Anthony Pinto. Welcome to the War Room. We are War Room Philly. How's everyone doing out there? Hope we're all doing well. I hope, unlike you guys, the allergy plague attacked me this morning, but nevertheless, we're in it. Jordan Matthews is back! I mean, the season is saved. We got Jordan Matthews, obviously. We'll be talking a little bit of everything. As you can see, it's a solo show. Wishing Keith the best of luck at his rehearsal tonight. But yeah. So, we got a little bit of everything to get into. As I'm going to quick share to Facebook.com/WarRoomPhilly that we are live. And if you haven't already, get on down to www.facebook.com/WarRoomPhilly. Slam down that like button. Wow! But yeah. So we got a, let me see what we got here. Couldn't see the notification. I'm sorry, but thank you for whoever you just got. Rambunctious is hosting us. I definitely butchered that name, as I butcher all names. But thank you for the host. We don't get those too often. So I really appreciate that. Like I said, just gonna hop in right now and create a post. But yeah, so we're going to be talking a little bit of everything tonight. First thoughts on Jordan Matthews. It's Nick. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Nick. I really appreciate that. Oh, okay. Formerly Pot Pot. We got a name change. But yeah, I do. I appreciate the hosts. And anything that we could do to help grow this community. Is where we're so close to that ever elusive 50 followers mark. And when we get there, we could start getting potential credentials towards like a subscribe button. And then honestly, I don't care about the money. Although both Keith and I would love to start making revenue from this so we could do it much more often. But what we care most about is we want to put this War Room Philly logo in the Twitch emotes. Like, I can't wait for that to happen. So if we get our subscribe button, no doubt our logo will be the first Twitch emote. And then as we accrue more subs and get more emote buttons, little Philly sports themes here and there. It should be some fun, though. But, like I said, having some fun. Flyers with a big game last night. Good bounce back win. What I thought was a measuring stick game. Obviously early in the season. But hey, we're, like when the Sixers' first game of the season against the Celtics, it was a measuring stick. It's never too early to start gauging what your team feels like against other potential playoff teams. And the Hurricanes are that. They are a potential playoff team. And this East is deep. And they're one of those teams that contribute to that. So, it was certainly, it was a good win, 4-1, and yeah, I'm loving it. So yeah, the Flyers, like I said, they win, and we got the Sixers tonight against the Jazz. We got a little bit of everything. Obviously, the Eagles again. The big news, if you will, is Jordan Matthews is coming back to the nest for the third time. Chat, who knows it? Who knows it? The only other Eagle to come back to the nest 3 times. Do you guys know it? Don't look it up. Don't look it up. Do you know it? Who knows it? I'll give you a hint. He played linebacker. But yeah, the one, the only, the Axeman, Jeremiah Trotter, was the only other Eagle, other than now Jordan Matthews, Trotter, Joe got it. Joe got it. I know I said it before you got in the chat, Joe, but I know I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt that you got that before the stream got there, because I know that there's a bit of a stream delay. But yeah, Jeremiah Trotter, the Axeman, the only other player to ever be back 3 times. So, for Matthews, look, I think all of Philadelphia feels the same way. We're not all going to act like this is a Hall of Famer stepping through the doors. But what he is he's certainly better than a very unproven rookie in J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. And what he is got to be better than a Mac Hollins who doesn't seem fit for the NFL. He's a self-proclaimed special teams player who can't even do that. He's better than special teams at Mac, or he's better than Mac at special teams. Joe, you're probably right. I'd have to go back and remember, and I'd have to go back because I don't remember, is what I meant to say. But I would bet that Matthews is better than Joe, I think you and I are better at special teams than Mac Hollins. And he's, he goes in and he puts work in at that. So yeah, it was, you're close to affiliate, Nick. Well, I'm gonna have to make sure I give you a follow. I just saw that in chat. That's awesome. Matter of fact, if I can I do this right now? I was gonna try to give you the follow right in chat. Oh, it looks like I am following. Or no, you're following me. I digress as I do best. But yeah. So if you're also in chat, give Rambunctious a follow. Help out the community. But he's better than Mac. Yeah, that was the last one I read. I already read that one. What he's gonna do is stabilize the slot, which Nelson Aguilar hasn't really able to been which Nelson Aguilar hasn't really been able to do the way we'd like this year. He's gonna have that immediate chemistry between him and Wentz. They have a good friendship, and that friendship obviously develops on and off the field. So you'll have that immediate chemistry. He knows the playbook to a certain degree, but what he does not do is give you speed. He's more of the same when it comes to J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, what you hope that he becomes, or Alshon Jeffrey. He's not going to give you the speed, and that's where really all of us we would like to see Nelson Aguilar. Even if he's not going to catch it, you got to attempt 1 or 2 times just to open up the top and throw to him downfield. And I think that's still the biggest thing missing in this Eagles offense. We saw last week they were able to move the ball slow and methodically down the field several occasions. The first 2 drives ended in field goals, which obviously none of us would like to see. We would like to all see that get corrected. But that being said, defense looked better against a bad quarterback. Offense looked better, but wasn't finishing off the drives the way we'd like. So there's still some work to be done. You got the Patriots coming out of the bye. And guess what? The Patriots are going to have a bye too. And Bill Belichick is pissed after that last game. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. It's rare that New England comes here. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun. We'll be at the game. Afternoon game. So it's gonna be a lot of fun to see that matchup, but it might not be fun come game time because that's a really good team in the New England Patriots. But we'll talk more about the Patriots next week. I don't want to stick on, since we got the bye week, we can kind of stay focused more on the current state of the Eagles. Let's not. We can obviously look forward as to what we think this season's going to become. But I would love to know, what's your, letter grade on Howie Roseman? what's your letter grade on Doug Peterson this season? Doug Peterson, obviously just this season, the regular season games, but Howie, what's Howie Roseman's grade now that you can go we're a little bit ways in? What do you make of Howie Roseman's offseason and Howie Roseman's trade deadline moves or lack thereof? But gotta go 1-2 in the next two. Wait, you mean 1-1 in the next two, Murph? Because if they go and think they finish 10-6, beat 11, you still think 11-5? That'd be sweet. I think 10-6 is the best they can do this year. C- for Howie had needs all along not addressed. Doug B+, Howie C+, Doug C. Oh yeah. So I had you right, 1-1. Yeah, so 1-1 between Seahawks and the Pats. Yeah, that would be ideal. Obviously 2-0 would be ideal, but looking at it realistically, yeah, 1-1, get through those teams. For our sake, I'd like to win the Patriots game because I'm going to be there. Howie C+, Doug, so I read that one too. So yeah, I think for Howie, it's a D, and that's being kind. And for Doug, I'll give him a C+, and leaning towards trending up, because I think he's put together some good game plans as of late, but slow starts are still a problem. The lack of creativity in this offense is still a problem. So yeah, I was trying hard to be kind with the C+ and the C. Hey, and grade however you like. I'm trying to be as down the middle and not putting my fanhood into it when I give you guys the grade. So honestly, because look, I go back to this offseason when all of these moves were made, and if Keith were here, we'd attest to it. When I was like, look, obviously these guys give me the warm and fuzzies, but I'm worried about it. I'm worried about bringing back all of the guys they brought back. Brandon Graham, Deshaun Jackson, Vinny Curry. Got rid of, you got rid of some people. Chris Long retired. And it's like that, that's their... But it's like they lost a lot, and they kept a lot of... Or they didn't lose necessarily a lot, but they kept a lot of the same. Or they went back to... It felt like Ruben Amaro moves. Look, I love the Deshaun Jackson move, but the fact that you didn't have a plan B and then never addressed the plan B... And still haven't addressed Jordan Matthews isn't a plan B to Deshaun Jackson. Jordan Matthews is, we are boned. Jordan Matthews is, you're scrambling around like Mike Vick in the pocket looking for anything downfield. And they came up with Jordan Matthews. Hate Doug as a play caller. See, I think I have no insight to this, Nick, but I would actually say I think I like Doug as a play caller, but I'm starting to question his game plans. And I think that's why you hear Frank Reich. Like, you hear that name echoing in the back of your mind. Frank Reich was very involved in setting up the game plan. Doug Peterson called the plays. So again, that's not me giving you any insight. I don't have any inside information. But my feel on it is I like Doug Peterson as the play caller. Not that this year he's been very uncreative. But I like him as the play caller, but I think, and I still think even this year, his game plans have been weak. And it almost seems like you wait until the second half and something he's good at is making in-game adjustments. It's almost like you got to wait to the second half before you see the real Eagles offense. Which is it sounds like a good thing, but it's a bad thing. Like, I love the in-game adjustments. That's great, but if you're always adjusting to being down, that's a problem. I'm gonna catch up on some chat. All right. I think they beat Washington. Oh, you're still talking about the. Okay, we'll get into the specific games. Mark, I like where your head's at. I was trying to be kind. Okay, I got it. Dealt with a lot of injuries. Not much to work with as far as creativity. That falls on Howie. Yeah, and the injuries. Last year, I give Howie a pass for the injuries. This year, I don't. Not when you bring back most of the same people and sign aging players. The first thing I said when they signed Deshaun Jackson was he's going to miss at least 4 games. Look at his track record. I love the Deshaun Jackson move because he wears number 10, my favorite player, one of my favorite Eagles of all time. But me as the analyst, I was very worried about that move because there was no plan B. We were sold, and like idiots, at least I don't want to speak for you guys, I bought it that Mac Hollins would be the plan B to Deshaun Jackson. And we remember a few little drips and drabs from the 17-18 Super Bowl season where we remember, oh, Mac Hollins had a couple deep catches. I guess he's a deep threat. That's not on the fans. That's on Howie. That's on Peterson. That's on Howie. That's on whoever is in control of your players and the staff and keeping people around. Mac Hollins, I saw in the preseason. I liked Greg Ward over Mac Hollins, and I still think that'd be another move that the Eagles should make. Mac Hollins needs to be cut. Counterpoint to that, how bad does Greg Ward stink if he can't beat out Mac Hollins? Because I know that's what Keith would be telling me right now. Howie did good with Howard and Dillard, but then dropped the ball and no trades or claims of Josh Gordon. Josh Gordon's unreliable, but I would have claimed him. I would have claimed him. Last year, I didn't want any part of him right now in this situation. What he does do, and what he would do more than anybody else on the street, is he opens up the top of that defense. Even if it's only for 1 or 2 games, that's all we had Deshaun for. Back to it. How big of a miss was J.J. Arcega-Whiteside? This dude ain't better than Hollins. Doug was working with what he got. Definitely room for improvement. Yeah. I don't want to kill Doug. And I'm going to get back to J.J. Arcega because I just had a interesting back and forth with a beat writer for NJ.com, I think. I'm going to get into it on Twitter. I'll show you guys. I hate Doug as a player. I think I went into that. Don't believe they thought Nelson Aguilar would be worse than his rookie year. Joe, you're absolutely right. That's not everything you can blame on Howie. That's on the player. That's on Aguilar. I mean, Nelson Aguilar, if Nelson Aguilar would look for the ball as much as he looks for flags, he would be an all-pro wide receiver. We all see that he has the talent, but the mind is just shot with him. And the fact that there are still 2 worse wide receivers on this team than Nelson Aguilar is an indictment to this team. There's still 2 other people worse than him. I am bleeping tired of Darren Sproles. Jesus Christ, what is this? Love affair with him. Joe, you know Darren Sproles is my boy. I agree with you. He wasted a roster spot this year, and Howie brought him back like an idiot. He's not even returning punts well now. Shot. Cut him immediately. Darren Sproles does not need to come back. You do not owe him anything. He wasn't even on the roster on that Super Bowl game. You don't owe Darren Sproles anything. He can walk right out that door right now, and this team would not miss a beat. And that's my boy. I love Darren Sproles. But I got to give it straight when I come on here. And I'm talking about my team and how they can improve. They can improve by cutting that fat. Jason Peters can walk right behind him, to be honest with you. That's for a different story. Because Jason Peters he's at least, when he's in, he's contributed this year. Unlike Darren Sproles, who kind of like Jackson had one game this year. Josh Gordon worth the risk. At worst, you drop him. Yeah, Nick. Again, this year, you got to pick up Josh Gordon. You absolutely had to. That's my point. A joke that we have guys worse than Nelson Aguilar and Hollins. Sproles is done. Thanks for your service. Bye. Yeah, Murph, good point. I certainly know Keith's take on it, but what's yours? Nick, was that about Josh Gordon? Because I think I answered that if that is. But Nick, if I didn't answer your question, rephrase it, because I just ran through chat. You guys brought it right there. That was great. Thank you guys again, because when it is just me, the solo shows are a lot harder, and when you guys are here, it gives me some back and forths. It helps me breathe and give myself some space in my head. So yeah, I love it. Funny enough, I don't think any of us want to admit it. Jim Schwartz has done a decent job this year. You haven't even... Now, granted, maybe it's because they're not in third and longs that often. We haven't seen the sticks defense even that much. I've seen it a couple times. Certainly have. But we're even seeing less of that. He's dialing up some blitzes. Now, he's not Jim Johnson and throwing them 90% of the game. Again, I don't think we all want to admit it, but we got to give the guy a little bit of credit, I think. Most of the fire is coming, to the coaching staff on the offensive side of the ball. But Jim Schwartz, look, say what you want, he really was working with what he had. When he had, for the beginning, a lot of the year, he had nothing at defensive back. And in offense, you can hide some deficiencies. At defense, they just get exploited. So, again, I'm not saying that he's a Hall of Famer, but I think he deserves a little bit of more credit. And I still think people want to blame him for a lot of things, and it's like, his scheme ain't the best, but I don't think he's a weak link right now, which is good to say. Starting to think Peters fakes injuries, also seems to take himself out of the game once the Eagles start playing bad. Nick, it's a dangerous game to play that. That line of thought. But I will say, if it does look like he's just stealing, he's stealing money one way or another. And he did it last year. And I have thought the thing about that you've thought where it's like, oh, they're down, now he's out. And it's like if they win a couple games and start to rally, it's like, oh, we'll be ready, right? I don't take... If Dillard continues to play well, I don't take him out of the starting rotation. If that means Peters got to move over or Dillard has to move over, maybe that's what's got to happen. But in my opinion, Sayamalu, even with Andre Dillard, a relatively young pick, Sayamalu is the weak link on that in that offense, that offensive line. Howard should have 20 to 25, 30 carries a game. I don't know about that, Joe, but and Peterson, I got to pull up the numbers. He's been getting more and more carries. Everything is gain flow. He should have around 20 carries. And I say that because I still want Sanders to have, 10 to 20 touches one way or another. So yeah, the Brown thing, again, it's unfair to expect in a passing NFL league Peterson to run the whole time, but he certainly has been adjusting and using this run game more and more. And he used to pass to set up the run, and right now he is, in the last couple of weeks, he's been running to set up the pass. And that's how come you're getting these 8-minute drives to really lock down and close the game. Wentz had 2 over 8-minute drives at the end of the fourth quarter there, and that was largely set up due to the run. Yeah, Jordan Howard, 19 for 82. Certainly a bomb player candidate. That was Keith's pick, 1 touchdown. I picked Zach Ertz, 9 catches, 103 for a touchdown. It is rare that both Keith and I, we landed. I hit on the jab, Keith hit on the uppercut. We landed 1-2 punch. Both of us get the bomb player there. Either way, you're right. I'd love to know, chat, who do you think was the bomb player of the week? Who was your one player? So maybe you give bragging rights to either Keith or I. But yeah, for my question, this is from Nick. I mistyped earlier. I know Keith's take on Antonio Brown. What's mine? I don't. There's a reason why 31 other teams, actually 2 of them have already gotten rid of him. There's a reason why all these other teams don't want him. And, for the Patriots to cut bait on him that early, if you bring him back, immediately the suspension issue will be brought up. And you'll have that. There's a lot of noise already in this team, with this locker room. Do you really want to add more to it? I get that we're dire, but this dude's not a good person. This dude's not committed to football anymore. Honestly, he may have something like, he might be dealing with some concussion and issues. That's not me just throwing, poop into the wind. That's been something that people have talked about. Targeting the one specific hit in the Bengals game. Look, if this is Madden and I don't have to deal with any of that stuff, I would love the talent of Antonio Brown. But again, there are every other general manager in the NFL. Every other team, look, forget how good or bad your offense is. Every team, it's just like pitching in baseball. Every team always wants another wide receiver, always wants another cornerback in the NFL. You can never have too many. Why has every general manager not touched Antonio Brown? So honestly, I think for the people that want him, I get it. You're thinking of the talent. But at the end of the day, and I don't mean to sound harsh, I think you're driving yourself nuts and wasting your own breath by saying Antonio Brown, Antonio Brown, Antonio Brown. Funny how Hunt has a job, though. But Hunt, for good or bad, Hunt took that season off. Or, he got cut. He lost a season. And then he served, an 8-game suspension this year. It's kind of like you have to go through, you have to do a little bit of time. And I think for anyone to just think that, Brown can just come in and get another contract or whatever. And let's also think that he's not going to come in here and play for nothing. He's going to want money, like big money probably. Not that I care about that, but I'm just thinking. But yeah, I think that Antonio Brown will be in the NFL again next year, but he's going to have to go through, his punishment process. Use Miles as a wide receiver. Joe, I like that, but drips and drabs. Use him as a wide receiver out of the backfield. I think you could probably line Boston Scott up in the slot easier than you could use Miles Sanders. Maybe I'm wrong. This isn't me coming as strong-handed as I normally do. I'm kind of just spitballing. But for Sanders, he's still a rookie, still learning. Every week he probably learns another play that he's adding into the playbook for himself and into the game plan. My take, and there's a reason why you don't see this as often as you do, My take is it'd be a little bit harder than just, oh, let's throw him in at wide receiver. He's undersized. He's got a wide receiver, running back body. That being said, I get it because all season I've said he's your only weapon. He's your only offensive playmaker outside of Deshaun Jackson. So they have to figure him out. They have to work. And hey, they did what a lot of fans have been wanting to do the dual back set. I kind of poo-pooed that and said it doesn't really work in today's game anymore. Well, Jordan Howard, I'm already going to start messing those up. Jordan Howard, great block when we saw Miles Sanders break that huge run a couple weeks ago when they ran out of the dual back set. I want to see more of that. This team has 2 good tight ends and 2 good wide receivers, and all 4 of them should be on the field on a first and second down here and there. This slow start-ish has to go. Need to do better early. This team could be much better. Yeah, Murph, I kind of echoed that earlier, or you're kind of echoing it from now. But yeah, the slow starts, and that's on Peterson's game plan. Seahawks are going to... The Seahawks were going to get Antonio Brown, but they didn't. So why didn't they? It's not like Josh Gordon is even in the same realm as Antonio Brown talent-wise. Gordon's got talent, but Antonio Brown is, Hall of Fame level. You probably won't get there because I don't think his run was long enough, but you got maybe a Pro Bowler at best in Gordon if he had put everything together, and then you have the elite of the elite in Antonio Brown. Even still at this career, he would be top 10 in the league right now, assuming health. Probably would have taken a look at Dez. Dez has been shot 2 years into his career. Nah, I'm good with Matthews over Dez Bryant. Dez Bryant hasn't been relevant for 4 years. And he comes with an attitude. But I would love to troll. If he has anything in the tank, I'd love to troll the Cowboys. That'd be great. Come on, Dez, come win the ring with us. But nah, I don't have any faith in Dez Bryant. But yeah, as far as this team goes, though, I think we're all in agreements that Doug Peterson's game plans really need to start coming together. And with the Patriots, 2 weeks from now, you can't be cashing out on field goals when you need to be scoring touchdowns. And that's an important game. They're all going to be important because you've dug yourself deep this season already. So for the Eagles, yeah, it's really time to buckle down, and this coaching staff, maybe they it would be very Doug Peterson-esque with his Andy Reid background for Doug Peterson to work Jordan Matthews in early and often. If I'm not mistaken, that's exactly what he did his first game back. Was it last season? His last time back. 2 years ago. So, yeah, for Jordan Matthews, like I said, if anything, it gives you some... He'll solidify the slot. And now it's time for Nelson Aguilar. With D-Jax out, Aguilar's going to have to open up on the outside because you're not going to expect it from Mac Hollins. And Arcega-Whiteside's not that guy. So it's time for Nelson. He's going to have to kind of put up or shut up. It's time for him to be an outside wide receiver. It's not like he's producing from the slot this year, so you might as well line him up outside. If he can connect on one 30-plus yard catch, preferably for a touchdown, you would open things up so much more for this offense. Yeah, not good when I think it's 6 straight. Start. Yeah. That start for the Chicago game was terrible. Um, but yeah, I haven't gotten anything from you guys. Give me Zach Ertz or Jordan Howard, who was the bomb player of the game for the Bears. And as we do that, we can kind of start transitioning. If you guys have any Phillies questions, comments, thoughts, the only thing Phillies related that I can even think to talk about is Strasburg, which I want Garrett Cole. If it means I can get Garrett Cole and Strasburg because we're going to spend stupid money, I'm okay with that. But I want Garrett Cole. I do not want Strasburg instead of Garrett Cole. I want Garrett Cole. Strasburg has been plagued with injuries. Plagued with injuries. He just turned down 4 years, $100 million, which means you're going to have to give him more than 4 years, $100 million. I'm good. Again, if money is unlimited, like it should be because you're a baseball team in Philadelphia, sure. But I want Garrett Cole first. Because adding Strasburg doesn't solve your problems. It creates more when he gets injured. No Cole Hamels. I rather have Strasburg over Garrett Cole. I'm not talking about Cole Hamels. I'm talking about Garrett Cole when I say Cole. Talking about that guy on the other side of the World Series. Look, I love Steven Strasburg's stuff as a pure baseball fan. Yeah, he proved it on the biggest stage, but it's like the Nick Foles thing. I don't believe in his health. And his track record shows it. And I'm not ready to throw 6 years, $150 million, $200 million. I'd rather spend 6 years, $300 million on Garrett Cole. He won the World Series. Again, you're talking about one season. I'm talking about his whole career. I'm talking about the final. If money is limitless, I want Garrett Cole and Steven Strasburg. That would be ideal. But if you're asking me one, I want Garrett Cole over Strasburg, no doubt. But yeah, Strasburg's damn good though, and in spurts throughout his entire career, we've seen he's Hall of Fame stuff. He is no doubt if we're turning injuries off, he's better than Garrett Cole. But for my money as a franchise owner, I'm going all in on Garrett Cole because he's kind of shown health. And granted, nothing is guaranteed in sports, but he has shown health, and he has dominant stuff. Not as good as Strasburg, but dominant. And if I can get that with the youth that he also brings, yeah. Any pitcher can get hurt. Yeah, exactly. I agree with that, Joe. But he's already been hurt he's missed most of his career. You're ignoring that because that's what you do best. You get so hyper focused on your point you can't see anybody else's. So yeah. I get it. You've said 3 times now you'd rather have Strasburg. I get that, Joe. They load managed him. Yeah, okay. Is Cole as good as it was this year, or no? Close. I'm confused by that questioning, Murph, because of the typos. I think was that his best? Is that what you're saying? Like, let me look here. Let's get some baseball reference up here. Garrett Cole's 29. It's not a spring chicken either. It's weird. Steven Strasburg's age isn't on Baseball Reference. Trying to look it up. That'll be on. So Strasburg's 31, Cole 29. So the age difference actually isn't as big as I made it out to be. But again, Strasburg missing. We just go look at games played. We got only 12 games started in 2010. 5 games started in 2011. 28 in 2012. 30, 34, 13. Back down to 23. 24. 28. 22. And again, finally 33. You want to be up in those 30 numbers. And every year he's missing some starts here and there. So again, I'm not saying no to Strasburg. I'm just saying I want Garrett Cole more before we just sit there. Let's see here. We did it 2 years in a row with Houston. Garrett Cole is, he pitched more than Max, so I guess they should cut Max. What? According to your logic? What? Well, Joe's trying to derail the show with his stupidity as always, so I'm just going to ignore that and move forward. Anyway, where's Max Scherzer has no room. Max Scherzer, I'm not talking about Max Scherzer. Why are you bringing up Max Scherzer? We're talking about free agents. What the hell is your problem? So, anyway, moving forward, because I'm not going to really spend time on the Phillies this show. It was a 3-for-4 show. We wanted to talk Flyers, Sixers, and Phillies today. I'm talking about injuries. No, I'm talking about free agents, not injuries. How about we do this? Bye, Joe. We'll give him a little time out so we can get on with the real show. Have the adults talking. JoJo back in action tonight? Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. So, Sixers coming up. It's going to be a fun one tonight. Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz. It's going to be a fun game. I think we're going to see a hungry Ben Simmons after, not having the best game last game. I know. All the haters got to jump out. The first loss of the Sixers season, and of course it's Ben Simmons' fault, so all the haters got to come out. But yeah, it should be fun. You're going to see an energized Joel Embiid, an energized Ben Simmons, and you're facing a good opponent in the Utah Jazz. They have some really good players, and as far as the Sixers go, they're gonna have to tonight their main concern is gonna be Donovan Mitchell. You don't want to see another instance where they just get torn apart by one player again, like they did last night, or 2 nights ago. Sad they lost to the Suns. Yeah, even though you love the Suns, why? What? Because of Mikal Bridges? Is that why you love the Suns? I'm confused. What's the love for the Suns? But yeah, as far as it just got darker in here. I think my light got crazy. As far as tonight's game goes, yeah, it should be an interesting one. Bounce back game. And want to see big things out of everybody. So yeah, with the Sixers and Ben Simmons and everything, it's the Flyers. No, the Flyers don't blow. Nah, not yet. Well, I'm going to the game the 23rd. I'm trying to be positive about the Flyers until because it's been so long since I've even had that. But no, the Flyers, look, last night's game too was a good bounce back game, and you saw some good goals. That breakaway goal by Drew at the end of the game to close it. Farabee had a nice goal. So yeah, it was a good bounce back game out of the whole team, and kind of gonna hope to see the Sixers do the same thing. 81-1 for the Sixers, still not bad. I think that Richardson's going to be able to D up Mitchell a lot better. But you're still going to have Rudy Goddard. You're going to have Jeff Green, Dante Exum. There's some decent players. Moutier, is he even good anymore? Really want to see a hot streak from Hart. Yeah, we all do. And for whatever it's worth, Moose has been hot early. So you might as well take that production out of him, because for Carter Hart, you're still going to be wanting to manage his load throughout the season. You don't want to kind of throw huge expectations and a huge workload and all this stuff on him all at once. So I think it's really, if you get any sort of productivity and hot streaks out of Moose, you use him. Because that's why I told people that I was like, look, I hope you're right, but anybody that said anything about Vezina and Carter Hart, I was like, man, that's crazy, because it's too soon. It's to throw that all at him at once and to just expect this team to make this huge leap just because it's the first season that you're going into it with a goaltender. That being said, Sarge plays for the Suns. I saw him the other night on the Suns. Doesn't help with the team in front of him. Big Ben 2020 MVP. Is that Joe? Did Joe make a... I feel like that's a Joe sleeper account already. That's 100% a Joe alt account because he got timed out, and I can sniff you like a dog, Joe. But yeah. I missed that game like Sarge. Sarge was alright. He didn't... yeah, I know it's Colangelo. Joe Colangelo. Not Brian Colangelo. Oh, Joe, I love it. He comes in with a new name when he gets done. Oh, man. Yeah, but Murph. Sarge, look, would I, in an ideal world, could we use him off the bench? Yeah, but he was inconsistent. He was streaky. He got out of shape real fast. I don't think we really missed it. Look, at the end of the day, Sarge brought you Butler, who brought you Richardson. Now I like Sarge. He can't even tie Josh Richardson's shoes, much less anything much on him. So yeah. I like I said, I like Sarge, not so much Rocco. But what I do like is Matisse Thybulle, who immediately plays a better game than Robert Covington. Comes in and plays much better defense. It took Covington 4 years to play defense worse than Matisse Thybulle already does in 5 games. And if Thybulle can get his shot anywhere to be half as inconsistent as Covington's was, we'll be all right. But yeah, he does. He plays great D, and I might be speaking out of turn, but that offensive game is gonna come. As sure as I am that J.J. Arcega-Whiteside is a bust, I am that Matisse Thybulle is a hit. And will be maybe a good sixth man for a few years to come for this team. Or a potential trade piece to bring in whatever missing piece there is. Because for the Sixers, you got a 1 to 3 year window. And that's why Ben Simmons gets the amount of pressure that he gets on him. unfairly so, in my opinion. But people do see that, his offensive game is going to be needed. And they're right. Now, the whole idea that he needs to be popping threes like he's Steph Curry is insane. But he does. He needs to develop 3 spots. At least 3 spots on the court where he can run, set his feet, and pop a shot when he needs to. And then the foul shots. The foul shots absolutely need to be more consistent. That is what people should be driving on him. And he needs to want to go to the line more. If he hits those foul shots, he'll start to want to go to the line more. JJ must be awful, man. Look, I'm glad we got back onto that, Murph, because I did say I wanted to. Do this. I'm gonna go on to Twitter real quick and pull up a little back and forth between me and Mike K. Kaye is how he spells his last name. He's got the check mark, so he's nice. But he is a Eagles beat reporter for NJ.com, and he says, let's see how this started here. This guy tweets a lot, and I gotta go through mine. My biggest issue, this is his tweet, my biggest issue with the J.J. Arcega-Whiteside criticism as a buzz talk is that he was used in 2 games of notable playing time and looked like a rookie. Jeremy Maclin took time, Ertz took time, but both got actual playing time to adjust. Let it play out. Hashtag Eagles. That's his quote. To which I, quote, tweeted at War Room Philly and said, those guys showed skill in their college tape. I never saw it out of J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, but I'm obviously rooting for him. And then he tweeted back, I actually liked what I saw from JJ on tape. He's just not a speed guy. And then I said, so I probably watched a lot, I said to him that he probably watched a lot more tape than I did, but from what I saw, I got a sense of lack of separation at the college level. And again, he jumped back. He's a jump ball size mismatch. Yes. Period. Yes. Not a ton of separation, but he can run decent routes and win one-on-ones fairly easily based on what I watched. But the NFL is a different game. I liked a lot of wide receivers better than him, but he's got a lot of potential. So that's where we kind of came to a pleasant agreement, because I was like, I did see solid routes. I did see that he used his body to make catches. I 100% agree with that. But that's the thing. In college, you can get away with using your body to get catches all the time because those guys are smaller, weaker, slower than you. In the NFL, they're not. Could have had DK Moncrief or Metcalf. I'm sorry, I definitely pronounced that wrong. Dude from the Seahawks, yeah. Yeah, there were definitely people better than JJ. So, yeah, it's tough. And I don't really like to be that hard on on players. But for me here as, disguising myself as a talk show host, I kind of have to, I like to be firm one way or another and stick to it. I hope it makes it more entertaining for you guys, but I genuinely believe in it. I want to be wrong, though, and I'm always the first to admit I'm wrong. Always the first to admit it. So, yeah, it's way too early. But I kind of had that sense with Matt Collins, too. This dude's a deep ball threat that he's not fast. And again, that's why I'm like, well, he's a big wide receiver, but I don't see him get open. Hope I'm wrong. I would love to be. So obviously this week, no bomb player predictions, but at this time, I'd love to get some final thoughts. We start wrapping up the show. any other questions, even if they're nonsense, let's bring them. We don't have any necessarily time restrictions or anything, so feel free, ask me anything. But yeah, for me, it's just gonna be fun. Sixers, continue this little West Coast trip. And yeah, between the Sixers and Flyers, kind of just gonna have to get us through this little bye week blues. As far as the Eagles, look, some names that we probably should have mentioned today: J.J. Nelson. I just blanked because it's live, and that's what happens when you're live and you don't have a co-host. But yeah, there were some other names that have been mentioned. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna pull them up. Michael Crabtree is the other name that I constantly have been hearing. Here's the thing with the Eagles. It's fine that they brought in Matthews. In my opinion, this is along the same lines as Clentac not addressing the pitching staff. Even when you got Drew Smiley and Vargas, you still needed more. Just because you got Jordan Matthews, it's borderline malpractice if you do not bring in, J.J. Nelson and any other people. Take a look at them. You have the week off. Work for it. I never really answered it. Howie Roseman, no, I guess I did. Absolute D this year. And really it should be an F. But just not addressing any of these injuries, neither side of the football. Now, Gerard Avery gets a sack, but you spent a 4th round pick on a guy that was a 5th round pick and hasn't seen the NFL in really his first 2 seasons. I don't know. Same thing Howie did last year when he brought Matthews in. Simply, no, that's a lie, because last year he brought in Golden Tate. Last year he brought in Golden Tate. And then the coaching staff didn't use him right. Golden Tate, who just made a spectacular catch against the Cowboys the other night. So, but again, Golden Tate, Jordan, you need to stop bringing in only slot players. That's why the fact that you got Deshaun Jackson, you needed a plan B to him. And you just, between free agency and the offseason, the draft, Emmanuel Sanders, you just let a bunch of other options fall by the wayside. Seems like we're saying a lot about seems like we were saying that a lot about the coaching staff. Yeah, no, look, Joe, the coaching staff is 100% under fire. And I don't think, I hear a lot of times that people say Peterson's overrated. No, I don't think he's overrated. I think from day one, Philadelphia has given him his just, we've given him his fair criticism. I think we recognize his flaws. I absolutely do. Doug has a I don't think so. Again, because look, right now, if they don't make the playoffs this year, he absolutely has to fire Mike Rowe and probably Jim Schwartz. And then that's his last out. The next move after that is he goes. This isn't... I don't think the Eagles are going to make another Andy Reid mistake where they keep a guy for 14 years. I think if, Peterson has this year... If he doesn't, if they don't make the playoffs, he's got to find new coordinators. And if that doesn't work, if you miss the playoffs 2 years in a row, he gone. I don't think he's got a free pass at all. But this idea that you have to make a snap judgment and just cut the guy loose immediately, that's insane. No, I don't want Deuce Staley to be the new offensive coordinator. I really don't. I want someone from the outside. I get the thought Deuce running back in, but we've heard our fair share of criticisms about Deuce Staley just as the running backs coach and not being able to get rotations correct and this and that. I want someone from the out. Why not Jay Gruden? Someone that's been a former head coach. I'm not saying that I would be mad with Deuce Staley, but I would prefer somebody from the outside, and I would prefer somebody with a little bit of head coaching experience too, because I think that Peterson thrives with people that he respects. I think he's maybe more willing to take more ideas from or something. We kept Andy. Yeah, we kept Andy Reid and won nothing. Exactly. He's so ungrateful. Wait, what? Oh, he's talking about Rambo. Yeah, we that's what I'm saying though. We don't want to make the same mistakes as Andy. I don't think that'll ever happen again with this organization where we keep believing in the rebuild or whatever. I genuinely think that if Peterson has 2 bad years in a row, he would be gone. But I don't. Let's hope it doesn't get to that, please. let's not get to that. I just kind of want to give you. I just wanted to speak to the Peterson gets a pass crowd. 'Cause I don't think so. I think maybe Howie gets a pass. That's something we can talk about. Because what happens to Howie if the Eagles don't make the playoffs this year? That's an interesting thought. Again, because of the Super Bowl, maybe I give him another year. But Howie is hit in the first round a lot in the draft. But if you look at those lower rounds and specific skill positions, a la wide receiver and cornerback, he is missed and missed consistently. Maybe Joe Douglas was the brains. Well, Joe Douglas didn't trade Robbie Anderson. He thought he could get a 2nd-round pick for him, so maybe not. And also, if Joe Douglas was the brains, then why were all those drafts terrible? Again, we can't just give credit to all the good things to other people and then make the negative all on Howie. In this instance, maybe Joe Douglas just sucks too. Maybe there was just no brains. You know what I mean? I don't know. I honestly don't know. But I have no problem with our management as far as the front office. I agree. I think Howie has done a fair job. We've seen specific negatives, but we've also seen some positives. I think for this show specifically, and speaking personally, I'm a little upset with Howie currently because, again, not addressing the wide receiving core this year, that's malpractice. Jordan Matthews being the only thing you did for this team offensively all season, that's malpractice. And it feels like how Klentak treated this trade deadline. That being said, again, I think I give Howie maybe even more credit than the average fan. I think that maybe he almost built his own expectations because we saw so many of these moves happen all year, and then he didn't make any of them. Or maybe I'm a little more hard on him then. How many players actually panned out under Reid? I don't want to keep going back to the Reid thing, but that team, again, they drafted inconsistently. The Eagles, as an organization, have failed at the wide receiving position for our entire lives. Like, I'm just going to go out there and blanket our entire audience and say, for our entire lives, they've botched the wide receiving position. Like the fact that the only two good Eagles wide receivers I can say I've gotten to watch are, Terrell Owens and Deshaun Jackson, and I guess throw Jeffrey in there too, because now I know it's bad now, but let's not forget what he did for us when it was good. D-Jax, Macklin, McCoy, yeah, they were great. Again, we don't have to keep going. We don't want to go back to the Reed. We don't need to make. We're trying to end the show. We don't need to go back to the Reed days. We all remember and know well and good what happened with the Andy Reid era. Focusing on this era though, it's time to just make like a philosophical change at the wide receiver and cornerback positions, the way they draft. I hate Alshon. No, you know what? Same. When I see Alshon, and look, the one thing I said, and going back to why I'm a little down on Jeffrey on Jeffrey, I'm down on Howie right now, is because I even suggested, look, if you're not going to buy, sell, trade Alshon Jeffrey, trade Nelson Aguilar, even if you get 7th round picks for these guys, sell. And acknowledge that you're going to get different in the future. I still think that staying put was the worst thing that this team could have done going forward. Because you didn't put them any closer to winning a Super Bowl, and you probably kept yourself further, if anything. We don't want to admit that. I certainly don't want to admit it. But you probably went further, because next year Alshon's going to be a year older. And Nelson Aguilar is going to be on a different team, if not a different league. And then I also mentioned some tougher names, the Vinny Currys, the Fletcher Coxes. I don't want to trade them, but these are things that Howie Roseman needs to be looking at. I don't know if he even considered it. I think they just think, this fan base, we'll sell them at this year. It'll be a wash. Like I've already mentioned, they have the sacrificial lambs in order. So, would you trade Ertz this offseason? I listen to all offers. Would I look to trade Ertz? Hell nah. If someone offers me something that's, appetizing, yeah. I look at everything. Like I said a couple weeks, like both the pre-deadline show, I said I would consider Cox, Curry, a lot of these, even Malcolm Jenkins. Although I really don't want to get rid of him. I want to get rid of any. I'm not looking to get rid of anybody in the secondary. But like longer contracts, I was thinking maybe you get out from under a couple big contracts and consider a retool, a quick retool, a half-season retool, and you go back in guns blazing next year. So yeah, Ertz, I would consider all of these guys if it meant getting better. But again, I'm not looking to trade Ertz. I like having two good tight ends. I think that it's something that Peterson, makes work in this offense in this day and age. And we see with the Sixers, sometimes it's nice to throw a curveball at the entire league. We'll see how much it pans out. But we saw with Gronk and Hernandez, we saw that two good tight ends can be dominant. Who is him? Ertz, Sanders, Wentz, and Goddard are untouchable. Goddard and Ertz, I don't know that they're untouchable, but I like your sentiment. Again, I'm not looking to. I'm with you. They're untouchable, but maybe maybe for the tight end's sake, I take a look at the offers. I probably spit them out, poo them, but Howie has that Ruben. Nick, you're a long-time viewer. How many times in this offseason, that's all I kept saying. I was like, look, me as a fan, I love the move, but me as a fan, I loved most of Ruben Amara's moves, and they were wrong. You can't just sit there and eat the member berries. You got to get different. You got to be ruthless as a general manager. So when people were like, oh, you're being negative, I'm like, yo, Sports is tough, man. I'm not being negative. I'm just being real. Sometimes you gotta rip that Band-Aid off and it hurts. Sometimes it's gonna happen. Trust me. If you guys watch the Facebook live pregame show to the Super Bowl, I get rah-rah. I get amped. I love to be excited. Brandon Graham hasn't been awful. I agree. And again, when I was mentioning those trade, that's not me saying I want to trade any of those guys. I don't want to trade Brandon Graham or anything. I'm just saying, as a general manager, Howie Roseman should have considered it. I just hope those thoughts went through his head. He doesn't have to execute on them, and obviously he didn't. But I hope he thought, maybe I can get a flyer and look, maybe I should think about this. Maybe general manager has to be constantly thinking about how he can make every and any change for this year and next. But yeah. What about Sproles? Oh, he said at Big Ben. I'm missing something though. I hated Sproles. Yeah, no, look, again, I think us all as fans, we love Sproles, but we want to see him respectfully retire or play for a different team. Yeah, they 100. Look, again, Nick, I said Sproles, I'm only okay if Darren Sproles is only a punt returner. Use him for one game, boom, he's gone. But yeah, Joe was definitely I think I had to was like, yeah, come on, Joe will be alright. Like I was probably on a little bit of the other one. Biggest miss was Donnell Pumphrey. Yeah, because there were running backs before and after him all throughout that draft. But hey, hit on Miles Sanders. You got Jordan Howard in here. At least the running back position you can kind of correct. The missing on wide receivers, left, right, and down the middle has just been a travesty for this team. But with that, guys, yeah, do you re-sign Howard? So he's a free agent at the end of this year. I have to think about it. I got to look at my options. If maybe Melvin Gordon is going to be available, I take a look at Melvin Gordon because I like him and Miles Sanders a little bit more. But yeah, I firmly believe that Miles Sanders should be with somebody like Jordan Howard. And so I would. For right now, let's say yes. I would like to re-sign Howard, but I also want to keep other options open. So I'm kind of liking the spot that we're in as far as running back goes. Why isn't that Rubinson? I'm confused. Oh, you guys are kind of going back and forth in there. But yeah, with that, guys, it's 8:45 now. We're going to get ready for the Sixers game. So any other questions, get them in quick. But with that, I'm going to start wrapping it up. It's been a ton of fun. I love when you guys can kind of be my co-host and be our co-host even when Keith is here. It's always a ton of fun. Ruben would have been signing Peterson. Yeah, they did. Yeah, so it was a ton of fun, guys. Joe, you're the best. Ryan Colangelo kept checking out. Joe gets a timeout and creates a new account. Sometimes you just gotta tip your cap to the other team. Just gotta tip your cap. You bested me. You bested me. Sometimes I throw you the O2 change down and low, and you still crack it out of the park. And you just go, all right. But yeah, guys. Thank you all for tuning in, chat, for being more entertaining than I am. But yeah, Miss Phillies talk when we got Girardi, but I loved it, and it's who I wanted over Kapler. No, Nick, that's right. I saw that. Keith and I were talking about that. I think you were the comment. Someone on Nick's timeline, or on Keith's timeline, I should say, like we saw the article about Kapler being hired, and it was like the first comment was, "I wanted Girardi." I think that was you. I could be wrong, but yeah, I love the Girardi move. If you want to give, we can give it like that. Can be my final thoughts. I do. I love Girardi. I think I think Joe Madden might be the better manager, but I think Joe Girardi is the better fit for Philadelphia. Kind of like how Manny Machado may or may not have been the better player, but Bryce Harper was hands down the better fit for Philadelphia. Joe Girardi is the better fit, and I think he's going to be great. Now remember, for the anti-analytics folks, he even referred to himself, since being hired as the Phillies, as Binder Joe. He loves him some analytics. So if you're anti-analytics, you're not getting rid of that. But if you're anti-analytics because you were anti-Gabe Kapler, then you're not anti-analytics, you were anti-Gabe Kapler. And that I can understand. Have you ever had someone say, "Oh, this is my grandmother's recipe," and you eat it and you're like, "This is garbage"? You know Nana wasn't making garbage. It's just the person using that recipe who's garbage. Or cooks like garbage. I don't know. But you know what I mean? So it's like, in this instance, it wasn't the recipe. It was the cook, Gabe Kapler. Analytics wasn't the fault. It was that Gabe Kapler had no game sense. And on top of which, couldn't command a major league locker room. Had no discipline, no control. So yeah, that's a good little final Phillies talk to end it up. Nick, thanks for bringing it up, because again, it's still fun. Let's talk about the Girardi while it's still fun. Number 3. Nick, I think his number is going to be 25, if you're asking for the number. Because, yeah, number 3 is Bryce's number. So, no, he's definitely not wearing number 3. Yeah, I saw 25 with Girardi. But yeah. Get us our 3rd World Series, though. I like it. Pretty sure he changed his Yankee number to the number World Series when they had +1. Yeah, all right. Oh, so was his number at there was 27 or something, 28 with the Yankees. But yeah, either way, I think his number is going to be 25 for whatever it's worth. Oh yeah. So yeah, I saw that, but no, yeah, again 3 with Harper. But I could have been like 20, 30 something. But I digress, guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in. With that, he was 27 and he changed it to 28. Okay, all right, that's cute. I don't like it though, considering that World Series was against me. So yeah. My final thought is for Joe Girardi that by the time you leave Philadelphia, your only ring isn't that Yankees one, because you deserve more hardware now that you're here in Philadelphia. Get you one for the National League. Guys, thank you so damn much. Even to the end, you are bringing the heat. You guys have been fantastic. Now let's all kick back, crack open a soda, an adult soda if that's what you're into, whatever kind, and let's go watch the Sixers. With that, I am Anthony Pinto, and I am out of here.